Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. Today, we're going to talk about my 2023 reading challenge, and I have, for some unknown reason, given myself 30 prompts. I have a couple of rules I set for myself. No book can fulfill multiple challenges. And I'm trying to use mostly books from my shelves or from my library or my Kindle. I will share my list. You can join me if you'd like. You can join me in some prompts, not all prompts. It's an interesting list. At least I think so. So, my first prompt for 2023 is to read a classic, and this will probably come as no surprise to some of you. I have chosen Middlemarch by George Elliot. I still haven't read a page yet this month. I need to change that. I'm looking forward to it, even if I keep putting off opening the book because I get distracted by other books that suck me in easily. Reading prompt number 2 is to read 23 new to me authors this year. I don't have a list of those authors. I am very much a mood reader, as you know, so whoever strikes me as new will end up on that list, and it shouldn't be a problem. I tend to read new authors all the time. I'm not worried about that prompt whatsoever. Prompt number 3 is read at least one science fiction. I have chosen Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio. I've had this book for about a year. I haven't read it yet. I am very much looking forward to it. I am mildly concerned that it's a very dark sci-fi book. I am not the hugest fan of grimdark fantasy, so we will see how incredibly grimdark Empire of Silence is. Prompt number 4, I'm sorry. Read at least one historical fiction. I read historical fiction all the time. Shouldn't be a problem, but Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel has been on my shelf for a long time. I hauled this from Better World Books in 2020. I read, I think, the first chapter, maybe first couple of chapters in 2020, and it wasn't grabbing my attention, so I set it aside. This is a time frame of history I am very familiar with. I enjoy 99% of the books I read in this time frame. Thus, I didn't DNF the book. I just put it away for a different day. Logic says, Tammy should like this series very much. Prompt number 5. Read at least one fantasy book. I have 2 choices here. Both bought last year, and I didn't read them. First one is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. This sounds like so much fun, and it should be a very quick read for me, so here's hoping I can read it. And the second choice is The Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams. I have not read anything by Tad Williams. I know this series is very beloved, so hopefully I can get to it this year, and if I like it, I will buy the other 2 books in the series. Prompt number 6, read a middle grade book. I usually read several middle grade books during the year. Not because my reading level is low, but because there are hidden gems in middle grade, and you don't find them unless you read them. So this year I'm going to read, for sure, Book 2 in his Dark Materials trilogy, The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullum. I enjoyed book 1 tremendously. Prompt number 7. Read at least one police procedural. Again, I read several of these a year. This is only an idea. I'm not promising I will read this particular one. I've chosen The Darkest Evening by Anne Cleeves. It's a Vera Stanhope. I love Vera Stanhope books tremendously. I love Vera. I love Vera on TV. I love Vera on books. It will be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Prompt number 8. Read at least one cozy. I have chosen from my shelves Jane and the Unpleasantness at Scargrave Manor by Stephanie Barron. I have tried to read this book. I tried to read this book when it first came out, which was a long time ago. 1996. Life was very busy in 1996, and it wasn't grabbing my attention, so I set it aside. It got lost in several moves. I bought several of the Jane books in my Better World haul in 2020. I'm going to try and read at least the first one this year, if not blow through the whole series. Book number 9 is at least one fairy tale retelling. And I don't have a physical copy of the book yet. It's not in my library. If they don't get it soon, I will get one. And that is the second in the duology by Sue Lynn Tan, Celestial Kingdom. Can't remember the exact name of the book. It'll be here. Something about the Sun Warrior. I very much enjoyed the first book in the series, The Daughter of the Moon Goddess. It is a retelling of Chinese mythology, which is a subject I know less than nothing about. The story in The Daughter of the Moon Goddess was captivating and emotional, and it was a delight to read. I read it, I think, like 2 days. I am very much looking forward to book number 2. Prompt number 10. Oldest book on my TBR. This is somewhat embarrassing. The Hobbit by Tolkien. I tried to read this when I was 8 or 9. It lost me at the opening paragraph. Didn't go back. I did not read fantasy until I was probably in my 40s. My reading tastes have obviously changed since I was 9. I enjoy fantasy today. I've read the first chapter or 2. I'm loving it, so I'm not concerned. I will finish The Hobbit probably this month, hopefully. Prompt number 11. Longest book on my TBR. Texas by James Michener. I picked this up when we moved to Texas in 2021. I got 100 odd pages in. Had to unpack my house, and life has been busy here on the homestead since. Haven't gotten back to it. I want to finish Texas this year. Prompt number 12. Read a romance. I have chosen, insert picture here, Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. It is highly recommended by Amanda over on Book Lover Amanda and Oshina from Oshina Gotta Read Them All. I will link their channels down below. I did check the book out at the end of December. I read the back blurb, and it didn't catch my attention, and it didn't say, read me. But I do know it's a very beloved book by a lot of people, so I will give it a try. If it doesn't work for me, I will try something else by Francine Rivers. She has a very large catalog of books to choose from. And I also read enough romance that if Francine Rivers doesn't work for me for whatever reason, there are plenty others I can choose from that I'm not going to list here, but I'm comfortable in that decision. Prompt number 13, read a nonfiction book. Abigail Adams by Woody Holton. Abigail Adams is one of my favorite historical women. Woody Holton has written a very dense, very complete, very dry biography of Abigail. It has taken me a while to get through any amount of pages. So I will hopefully finish it this month. If not, I will finish it in February. And that will be my nonfiction book for the year. Prompt number 14. Finish a series that is complete. That will probably be the Bookmobile series by Laurie Cass. I have read books, I want to say 1 through 3. Maybe it's 1 through 2. I enjoy this series very much. It's a lighthearted cozy set in Michigan. She's a librarian who convinces her library director that they need a bookmobile so she can do community outreach. And she gets adopted by a cat. And her and the cat seem to always run into a dead body or two. It's a fun, lighthearted read, and I am very much looking forward to finishing the series. Prompt number 15. A book set in winter. And I have chosen Boundary Water by William Kent Kruger. This is book 2 in the Cork O'Connor series. It is set in the Iron Lake region of Minnesota. It would also qualify as a police procedural. And I've read the first book. I absolutely loved it. They are a very gripping, suspenseful type of mystery, which I enjoy. I don't plow through them quite as quickly as I do cozies, but that's okay. I don't always need to read a cozy. Prompt 16 is to read a book set in spring. I have chosen The Cinnamon Roll Murders by Joanne Fluke. I confess, I love Joanne Fluke books. I have most of them. I'm in the process of getting the rest of them. I love Hannah Swenson. I love all the side characters. I love the recipes included. I love the setting in Lake Eden, Minnesota. There's nothing about this series I like. It is long running. It is familiar. It is one of those Tammy is out of sorts and needs to, get out of a reading slump. Hey, go pick up a Joanne Fluke book. That'll get you back in the mood. Never fails. So, I'm very glad she made it onto the list. Prompt number 17. A book set in summer. And from my shelf, I have pulled Judy Blume's Summer Sisters. Yes, that Judy Blume. I read Judy Blume as a child. I'm sure most of us did read Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Her adult books are far more adult than Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I'm looking forward to it. I love the cover. I enjoy her adult books very much. Prompt number 18. A book set in autumn. I have chosen James D. Doss, Dead Soul, which is a Charlie Moon mystery. These are set in the Four Corners region of Colorado. This would also qualify as a police procedural. Charlie Moon is a sheriff, I believe. These are Native American semi-cozy, semi-police procedural mysteries. I enjoy them very much. I enjoy that portion of Colorado where these are set. It's one of our favorite places to go in the RV and forget the world exists. Prompt number 18. I'm sorry, prompt number 19. Is it a book set in South or Central America? I do not have a copy of this book yet. I'll put it here. It is The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. I have checked it out of the library last year. I read the first chapter. I was incredibly intrigued. I knew this list was coming up. I knew it would fit in this particular category. And so I returned it. I am looking forward to reading this book. If I enjoy the first one, I will get the rest of the remaining 6 in the series and probably blow through the entire series this year. We will see. Prompt number 20. A book with 14 letters in the title. I have chosen The Western Wind by Samantha Harvey. I love this cover, by the way. Something about this just says creepy and atmospheric, and I'm looking forward to this. It is set in early medieval England and is a mystery involving a monk and a very small village, and I don't know why I've waited so long to read this book. It keeps popping up and I keep getting distracted by other books, so I'm looking forward to reading that. Prompt number 21, a book of short stories. I have Fragile Thing. I have put a picture of it here. In my reading journal, I have written down Fragile Things, a short story, short fictions. I believe it's by Neil Gaiman. I am not a huge Neil Gaiman fan. I am not a huge short story person. I'm hoping I'm not setting myself up for failure with this choice. There's a copy in my library, and I will check it out with every intention of finishing it. Short stories always leave me wanting more. There's either not enough character development, or the character is so interesting and the story was so good and then it ends, or the author spends all this time building up a world and then there's nothing. Short stories drive me nuts. That's the challenge for myself, to read at least one this year. Prompt number 22. Read an American classic. Put it here. I have chosen The Long Goodbye by Raymond Chandler. I love Raymond Chandler. I love his mysteries. I grew up listening to old time radio to fall asleep at night. It was a normal thing in my household. The local AM station played an hour every night at 9 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock, my entire family was in bed. Everybody had turned on their bedside radio, and we all fell asleep to the same thing. To this day, if I can't sleep, I turn on the app on my phone and pull up a set of stories, and it will put me to sleep. Raymond Chandler, most famous character is Philip Marlowe. I love Philip Marlowe stories, so I don't recall ever reading The Long Goodbye, and thus am very much looking forward to this. Prompt number 23. Read a book with an animal companion. I have not chosen anything for this prompt. I have many books with animal companions. I have books on this list that have animal companions. I have books in my bookcases that have animal companions. I haven't settled on anything. And frankly, it's giving me fits. Don't know why. I will eventually settle. Probably be one of the earlier prompts I fulfilled, just because it's eating away at the back of my head. Prompt number 24. read an audiobook. I am currently listening to an audiobook. I will put it here. Its name escapes me at the moment. I know it's, I believe, book 1 in the series. I have an entire backlog on my Audible account of books I haven't read. I have books at the library that are available on audio. I read audiobooks while I'm walking the dogs, gardening, cooking. So this should be an easy prompt to fulfill. Prompt number 25. Read a book outside your comfort zone. I have chosen Verity by Colleen Hoover. My book group read it last year before I joined, and they all loved it. It is a psychological thriller, is my understanding. And after my recent experience reading yet another very popular psychological thriller, I am not looking forward to this book. I will make an honest attempt, and if it doesn't work, I will choose another one. I tend to not read the highly popular books, just because I've usually found them not deserving of their popularity. Prompt number 26. A book gifted or loaned to you. This is from my lovely neighbor next door, Kim. And it is Three Sisters, Three Queens by Philippa Gregory. I love Philippa Gregory books. This is one I haven't read. I'm very much looking forward to it. It keeps calling to me from the bookshelf, going, read me. So this should be an easy read for me. Prompt number 27. A book set in the ancient world. I've already had 2 DNFs for this prompt this year. The first would be Imperium by Robert Harris, which was the first quarter read along with Library of Alexandria, and I will link Alan's channel down below. DNF'd that one. I DNF'd The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper, which was highly recommended by the Brothers Gwynn. I will link them down below. So I have 3 choices from my personal shelves. First choice is Circe by Madeline Miller. I read her Song of Achilles in 2018. It was okay. It didn't blow me away. I didn't understand the hype. So hopefully Circe is better. If it's not, I have other choices from my own personal shelves once again. First choice is The Memoirs of Cleopatra by Margaret George. I love Margaret George's writing. If you have not yet read her autobiography of Henry VIII, do yourself a favor. Run out, get that book, and devour it. It is one of my favorite all-time historical books. It is funny. It is memorable. It is very well written. It will blow you away. And my next choice from my personal shelves is another Margaret George book, and it is Mary Called Magdalene. Title is self-explanatory. It's been sitting on my shelf for a while. I am interested. So one of those 3 should work for me. I have no doubt. Prompt number 28. A book about flowers or with flowers on the cover. I have many gardening books about flowers, but I don't think you guys want to hear about gardening books. I picked something a little bit lighter. I will put it here. I picked The Haunted Hibiscus by Laura Childs. I have not read a Laura Childs book in over a decade. It will undoubtedly be a cozy, lighthearted mystery that I can fly through, and I'm sure it's part of her longer Tea Room series. I'm looking forward to it. I will undoubtedly need a palette cleanser and something that just is lighter in content than, let's say, the Memoirs of Cleopatra or Wolf Hall. So that should be an enjoyable read. Prompt number 29, a book of poetry or a play. I have chosen Tolkien's The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, and I love this cover, and I even truly love the inside flight paper. I fell in love with Tom Bombadil playing Lord of the Rings Online. He was just, he was enjoyable as a character in the game. I'm looking forward to this book. It is something I can pick up throughout the year and, you know, read a poem and then set it aside if I want to, or continue on. And it's a good Tolkien that isn't hardly ever talked about. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I've never read it before. And the final prompt is the shortest book on my TBR. And that would be The Green Witch by Susan Cooper. It is book 3 in her Dark Rising sequence. I have not yet read book 2, which is The Dark is Rising. This is a middle grade adventure or fantasy type series. Book 1 was incredibly enjoyable. It is younger on the age range for middle grade than on the older side. So 8, 9 is, I think, the recommended age. They're a quick read, obviously. They're, you know, very short, but they are, the first book was incredibly enjoyable. The character development was very good. The story was engaging. So I am looking forward to, you know, reading Green Witch and at least getting books 2 and 3 off of my TBR shelf. That only leaves books 4 and 5. So if I, you know, really enjoy book 2 and 3, I'll just finish the series this year. And that are my 30 self-inflicted reading prompts for 2023. If you'd like to join me, if you would like to join me, I will hashtag all of them 2023 reading challenge. I don't expect to read these all in the first half of the year. I expect this catalog of books I have given myself to take me the rest of the year, in addition to, you know, the next 11 books my book club chooses, and what publishers send me, what NetGalley approves me for. I have a plethora of reading choices, and I am looking forward to them all. So please leave any comments you have down below. Please join me. Please like and subscribe to this video, and I will see you next time here at the Protagonist Pub.